On the rugged Isle of Berg, a Viking boy named Hiccup. Okay, alright, I'm not doing that. On the rugged Isle of Berg, a Viking boy named Hiccup, played by Mason Thames, defies centuries of tradition by befriending a dragon named Toothless. He names it Toothless, it didn't already have the name of Toothless. However, when an ancient threat emerges that endangers both species, Hiccup's friendship with Toothless becomes the key to forging a new future. Together, they must navigate the delicate path toward peace, soaring beyond the boundaries of their worlds, and redefining what it means to be a hero and a leader. Apologies in advance for sounding super I'm pretty sick right now. Alright, so we're back with another live action remake of a beloved classic animated film. A movie that no one really asked for, but we got anyway. How to Train Your Dragon is only about 15 years old. Do we need to tell this story again? Like, it really hasn't been that long. Does the old one not hold up? I will be fair and say that I do think 3D animated films do age faster than 2D animated films. And we'll talk about that very soon, but first I do want to just give out my general opinion of the movie. So, to put it basically, I feel like this movie was good because the original is good, and they pretty much made the exact same movie, like one for one, like copy and paste, give or take a couple jokes, and by doing that, it really doesn't lose much in the translation, unlike a certain remake with the blue alien that we saw not too long ago. And I really like the fact that the characters themselves feel like accurate representations of their animated counterparts. You could see the dedication in the cast to really just translate these characters. Mason Thames as Hiccup, those are some pretty big shoes to fill in terms of, like, I don't want to say iconic characters, but characters that we're familiar with. And he did a great job. You could tell that he was doing this kind of like Hiccup voice impersonation early on in the film, but he kind of like drops it later on. He also does a really good job acting alongside what I can only imagine is either like a green tennis ball or Taylor Lautner in a suit. I also feel like the character relationships were a bit clunky in this film. I feel like Nico Parker actually nailed Astrid's annoyed attitude, but just wasn't given enough time to soften up after and like really form that connection with with Hiccup. The drugs. I remember not being totally sold on their romance in the original either, but seeing it in live action just made it more apparent. But even with those narrative missteps, I was surprised with how impactful they managed to make the third act. That's something that I do think benefited 100% from being converted into live action. And it's great that it felt intense even though I knew exactly what was gonna happen. Now, narrative completely aside, I feel like some of the lighting in this movie is like actually atrocious, specifically when it comes to like nighttime scenes. There's a scene where they're flying in the sky and it's like the northern lights or something, and it just looks absolutely awful. I can't really say much because, you know, I don't have the experience of making these films, but it looked bad. Something I did notice though was how much the music was pulling its own weight. I actually didn't know that the original composer, John Powell, he came back to do the music for this film, and it really was like half the emotion was driven by the scores. I remember when I was a kid and I saw Toy Story 1 and I was like, this is like peak animation. This is as good looking as it gets. Meanwhile, take a look at like any animated film. Like Steamboat Willie, we can all acknowledge that it's old, but it's also like at this point its own style. It's like a coloring book, you know what I'm saying? It's like a painting. It's just a style now. It's not dated really. But for 3D animation, it doesn't work that way, because every time we come out with a new 3D animated movie, it's like, look at the detail that we were able to put on this person's hair and on their shirt and the physics of their shadows or whatever. I don't know. I'm not an animator, but you know what I mean? Like, they're always hyping up this new like technological feat that they did. It didn't really feel like there was any like inspiration to make this, you know what I mean? It just felt like we got a theme park opening, why not? And I'm making it sound like it's a lose-lose when you do these kind of remakes, but it's just as an older audience member who remember seeing the original, it's just like it didn't quite get me to that same place. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's the age I was when I saw it. I do feel that sentiment that's like, if we're not really inspired to make something here, then maybe we should just wait. With Lilo and Stitch, like, they were not inspired to make it. They were like, we have this brand and we can make this money. Yeah, so it could have gone a lot worse, but what we got was totally fine. If you saw the original, you will like it. If you didn't see the original, you will definitely like it because it's all new to you. If you haven't seen my Lilo and Stitch review where I talk about pretty much how they ruined my childhood, you can click right here and check that one out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.